Designing. The word designing is not only like graphic designing or visual designing. We plan and decide how the certain elements or pieces should look like on your UI. That's designing. So if you can do a visual designing, now that would be an advantage. I am Suresh Godakanda. I'm a past pupil of Department of CIS, third batch. I work related to UX, UI, and front end. Feel free to ask questions even in the middle of the session. Just raise your hand. So let's break down the software process into 4 basic steps: planning, designing, development, and testing. Today we are going to focus on planning and designing. Now let's break the process on 10 simple steps. For that, I'm going to take a real world example to proceed with. Online education platform. Just assume our university or school share learning materials and students access them remotely. Step number 1. Research. Now the word research sound more complex, but actually what we do is take 3-4 hours, a fixed time to find out about what we are going to build. Talk to people, browse internet, any information would help. Now let's focus on few areas to find out. We need to know about the users who are going to use the application, their behaviors, qualities, any attribute. Then the features we are going to implement. Similar applications maybe, and the current process. We need to consider the current process and especially the pain points. Step number 2, identifying users. We consider basic users who are going to use the application. In our case, let's say we have lecturers and students. Now I guess lecturers will need the help of demonstrators on this process. Lecturers create course contents, but demonstrators will manage and coordinate the contents. And we consider the special subgroups like the unicorn. They are the student who doesn't ideally chase exams and assignments and who does extra activities a lot. In the same way, think about lecturers as well and see if there are any special subgroups in them. Just imagine you got some lecturers who are not very familiar with online learning, like that. We can apply some real world characters so we can fine tune the user groups. Doctor would be your head of the department and person would be a past pupil from your department now serving you as an instructor. Likewise, apply some real world characteristic to these characters. Let's consider one user group which is student. We consider Shehan's attributes like technologies he prefers, apps he uses a lot, and his personality. Now we call this model as user persona. User persona will express attributes and the behaviors of any user group, not just one user. So we can create personas for the other user groups as well, for the lecturers, for instructors as well. Then we consider the information architecture, which is like a blueprint of the design structure. I name this application as Course Hub, and we will have courses, we will have projects, and we will have assignments. Under courses, we might have course contents, we need to include references, and we need to share slides and videos. Under assignments, we will have MCQ and short answer questions. We need to check plagiarism, and we need to have a scoring system. Under projects, we might have to submit proposals. We need to work as teams, and we need to maintain the status of the project. So this helps to plan the navigation system of the application. Then we have user journey maps. User journey map is a visual representation of the user experience. It's like we look at the process from the user's point of view. Here I have considered one process, one journey here, which is creating a course. A lecturer will click create course button, and we take him to a separate page maybe. So he will enter the title of the course, and he will have to select the module or subject. Then he need to create contents like text, including text, videos, maybe images and links, and he will publish the course. So let's see how his emotions will affect in each step. At the start, he is excited of what he is going to do, and he is determined, he is well organized. When he pitched into the application, so when in this point, we need to support his emotions like this. We need to give a clear button, easy access to what he need to do, which is creating a course. Then in the next step, he might be settled. He's learned from what he has seen so far, and he might have reorganized his work. So in that case, we might need to give a character limit to the title to keep him focused. The next step, he need to select the module or subject. He sees many modules, but not the one he needed. So we need to have option to create modules and maybe search and pick a module from a list. Now he has to create contents. He'll be exhausted, uncomfortable, and sleepy because he has to type a lot, find or read a lot. Now we need to provide a rich text editor for this, and we need to have insert or upload media option, and we need to provide autosave option. Finally, when he needs to publish this, he might feel like this is not completed yet, and he has typed a lot of content to save. So we need to have the option to save this as a draft. Likewise, we need to consider all the user journeys. Here I have considered just one. Then with this information, we can simply sketch or draw UI screens on a paper with a pencil or pen. Just draw your idea. Doesn't have to be unique or beautiful, but make sure you consider the things we have learned so far in the previous steps. So this is something I drew yesterday. So consider this as a home page. Here I have the logo, a navigation, courses, assignments, projects, and here I have create course button. This is like a banner, so I show who is logged in, and here I have created an element to search and fill the courses. Just a simple sketch. So when a lecturer click on create course, we'll take him to separate page maybe. We have the page title, create a course. Then we have a drop down, which is possible to search from a list of subjects or modules. And we have course title. Here we show the character limit. And here we have the rich text editor. We can create contents like we do in Office package. And we have a cancel button, and we have a publish button. Now, we draw UIs for one user journey. Once we draw other user journeys, we can consider the connections between each user journey. So here I have considered 3 user journeys: creating a course, creating assignments for each course, and student can search courses and take courses. So feel free to think of anything and just map the process which might user follows. Now, reviewing and refining. This is little tricky. We have to review and refine what we just created. Go through the UIs and user journey maps again and again. See if you have missed anything. You have to imagine yourself as the user and try things out and play around. So in the reviewing process, I introduce a create button here, create course button here as well. And I got rid of this course filter element. I will have to think of something else later maybe. And in the create course page, I have include save as draft button. So in the user journey maps, I have found few more connections and I have changed few. So likewise, we have to review and refine what we have done so far. Now, the most popular step, designing UI screens visually. You might know a design tool like Photoshop or a UI designing tool like SketchUp or Adobe XD. But if you are not, at least you know MS Paint. So here I have tried to design UIs with MS Paint and it works. You can see that I have constructed the same UI we sketched a few minutes ago, but with colors and images. It's not ideally the best and beautiful UI, but at least if you don't know any tool, any design tool, this works. Then we do prototyping. Prototypes are a sort of UIs that can be experienced than an image we just designed. There are few types of prototypes. These are paper prototypes. This really works with experiencing the actual scenarios, and this is really fun. So you might understand what we are going to do with paper prototypes. So we create pieces and we can change and stick here and there and test. Then we can create HTML and CSS prototypes. We can build static web pages within few hours and check with a computer or a mobile phone. So we get a better experience on what we are going to build. These are interactive prototypes. There are tools like InVision and Adobe XD to create these kind of prototypes with the designs we did. We can even use sketches we draw. So these are few images, and this prototyping tool allow us to arrange them and go to page by page by clicking and maybe scroll. So we can get extra experience out of the designs. Finally, test, improve, and update. This can be a little boring, but we should use prototypes effectively. Get some people to play with the prototypes, ideally some users from the actual audience maybe. So you have to test and improve continuously. I guess we just designed a UI in 10 simple steps. And let's recap what we went through so far. We did the research and we identify users and we thought of information architecture. We created user journey maps and we draw screens on the paper. Then we organize UX flows and identify the connection between user flows. And then we review and refine what we did. Then the visual designing, and we created prototypes and we tested, improved and updated the materials we created. So my question is, can you design a UI in 6 simple steps? Yeah, I mean, so this is 10 steps I introduced. So this is not a process God made. So you can practice this and be innovative and create your own process. So, but you have to follow and we have to do the certain things. You have to do the research, you have to identify users, yes, and with the experience, you can create your own process. So that's it from me. Now we can discuss or you can ask questions. Anything related to UX, UI or front end, UX research, or how to start as a UX engineer or anything. So it's the time. Feel free to ask anything. Yeah, we have one question. Can you suggest me 3D or professional UI tutorials? Yes, there are a lot of UI tutorials out there, and there are hundreds of processes. Uh, Personally, the problem I had when I start was there are a lot of content, so I couldn't find, I couldn't think of where to start. So there are few. So what I can do is I can keep you focused, and I will send something really simple so you can stick to it. So when you understand this ecosystem, you can understand what are the materials and tools. Yeah, I'll definitely send something through. So we have another question. How do we learn guideline for UI UX? I hear there are many guidelines and regulations. Is there an official guide or something? It's like this. UX guidelines are like religions. So someone has made one for them, and someone else has made one for themselves. So it's like there are few. As an example, if you use Apple devices, you have we have iOS design guidelines. For the Windows, they have guidelines, and for Android, they have set of guidelines, which is material design guidelines. And there are these common concepts as well. So there are guidelines. So let's say if you are going to design for iOS, you can pick iOS guidelines. And if you are doing something general, I guess the most popular one is with Google, I guess, because they have a huge base and community. Let's take another question. I'm a developer, so is it necessary to focus UI design as well? So as I mentioned at the start, designing is not just visual design. So you need to design the backend, you need to design the front end, and you need to do the visual design as well. So the same process you can use for backend designs as well. So let's say if you identify the user journeys and if you identify the users, so it will be easier to design the backend and the whole application. So definitely, if you are a developer, you need to know design concept, and it's not that hard. You will be find it really easy. Just you have to practice and use this 1 or 2 times. So you will find it really easy. So there's another questions. Could you tell us again what are the sketching tools for the prototyping tools? Okay. So there are few tools. So early in my career, I used. Oh, sorry. You are asking for sketching tools. Yeah. I don't really remember any name, but I think Figma is there, and yeah, there are a few tools. You can just search as sketching tools or prototyping tools, but just take it as a simple drawing tool. So you can draw it with any tool. If you are focusing on sketching, you can use any painting tool or pen and paper. Pen and paper is really effective because uh, I guess for me personally, I get more ideas and more innovative ideas when I'm far away from the computer. So pen and paper is really effective. But if you are referring to more advanced tools for prototyping, we can use Photoshop if you are familiar, and we have SketchUp, which is available for Apple, iOS, sorry, Mac OS, and we have Adobe XD, and we have InVision app, and likewise there are various tools. Okay, another question. Is there any tips and tricks we can use to improve visual design if you are not good in designing? Yes. Um, First thing is you need to know what to take care when you design something. So first thing I would say is you need to know uh, the popular applications. You need to use them. So let's say if you are designing this, if you are not a good designer, first thing is any UI have proportions. So this height, this working area, this panel right here on the left, uh, um, they have used a proportion. So let's say if you take the width in pixels here and here, there's a connection. So first thing you need to um, follow popular and successful applications, and you need to use white space effectively. White space means uh, the empty spaces between the elements. So this, let's say here, the white space means the maybe the connection or the disconnection. Likewise, so you need to make sure to keep paddings and margins. Likewise, the first thing is, and the most simple thing is, just follow the popular app. Just copy them as a start. Then you will understand what to do and what are the things you can do to make a UI beautiful. Just follow the popular app. That's it. Okay. What do we do for starting job as UI UX design? So there are few companies who will really support to start as a UI UX engineer, because UX requires a little bit of experience and a process, but that is not hard. You need to, if you follow this step for few real world examples and maybe few applications, and few applications already exist, and you practice this practically. I mean, you need to do the research, you need to draw the UIs, and doesn't matter if you cannot do the visual design, but just follow the process and at least use paint. So that means if you know the concept, if you know what to do, you can learn a design tool like SketchUp or Photoshop. That's not a big deal. You need to know what you really need. So starting as a UI UX engineer, I would say you need to know this, you need to practice this process, and you need to know framework, I mean guidelines, So let's say as guidelines, I would say material design guideline, iOS guideline, and maybe a framework like Bootstrap. So there's a lot of things, but at the start you can grab everything. But yeah, at least start from somewhere. So just stick to one thing. You cannot grab everything. So I would suggest, if you are focusing on web UX, you need to know this process and just get familiar with Bootstrap framework. So you will find it there. Then if you are into iOS designing or mobile designing, just read on iOS design guidelines and material design guidelines. So it is a lot. It is really huge. I haven't read it as a whole, but when I need to do something, I would find a specific point and I would read it. So in my experience, I know where to find it. I mean, which part I need. So you may have the confusions of that, where to find something. So as the start, I guess just check on application, check UIs, and just get familiar with it. I know if you the Google, Gmail, and Facebook must be really popular, so you understand the UIs, but you need to see why they have designed it like that way. So likewise, then what are the responsibilities of UI UX designer on product development? Okay, it depends on the organization. There are some organizations who get who gives UX designers a spec, software specification, and what to design and how to design everything. So he go through that document and he designs something and pass it to development team. So that's not the ideal process. So ideal UX designer would lead the team on all these processes. So ideally, the whole team should do this together, discussions, brainstorming, and then the whole team get the similar idea of what they are doing. They even BS, QS, and backend developers can contribute. They might have better ideas. So ideally, the responsibility of UI UX designer is to lead the team on this process and get the best out of the team and do the research properly and make the outcome, which is a set of visual designs and the process. So which might help even the database designing, even the front-end route designing, or even the back-end APIs. Next, when you develop cross-platform applications, which guideline you follow? iOS design guideline or material design guidelines? So cross-platform application means, let's say, if we follow web, so we need to cater both iOS and material design guidelines. If you check on both material design and iOS guidelines, you will see the concepts are similar, but their proportions can be different. As an example, in material design guideline, a button would have, let's say, 44 pixel height. In iOS guideline, it can be different, but it's very similar. If you read both and if you refer both, you will see there are few things that we need to take care, but the numbers will be different. So if you are doing designing for cross-platform, you need to refer both guidelines and again follow the popular and successful applications. Then what about the job security for designers? Good question. Because there are a lot of tools and practices for each company. As I said, if you know what to do and if you know the way you go to achieve something, I mean, if you know the process, the tools doesn't matter. There are design tools like SketchUp, InVision app, or Photoshop. Even some organizations don't have a design tool. That doesn't matter. If you know the process, you can learn a design tool. It's like all the design tools are similar. As an example, let's say there are various media players, but all are same. But anyone can learn how to play a media or a video or sound track with a media player. Likewise, if you know what to do, you can learn any tool. About the job security, regarding any job in software development, job is secured until you perform. Once you lose the control, once you lose your skills, you cannot rely on the position. So job security is a matter of your skills and your performance. So what you recommend steps about color combination of mobile application and webs? Colors is a separate subject. So, but we need to start somewhere, because we cannot read and learn all about colors and start design. So it's like when we design an application, we need to have primary colors. We need to have a secondary color. Primary color, as an example, let's say uh, the one we design here. Let's take this because this looks kind of beautiful. So here they have used blue as their primary color, and this black might be a secondary color, and they use this color as well, and they might use a yellow color button to highlight special options. Likewise, you need to create at least 3-4 color palette. So if you are not sure what colors to use, just again, I would say, just follow the popular applications. You can copy it. It doesn't matter. You can copy, and you will see that this blue color and this black color has a connection. So the meaning is, if you need to change this blue color, you will have to change the black as well. Likewise, the most basic thing, you need to have at least 4 color palette. You have to define primary, secondary, and special colors. So you can use the color across the designs consistent. What are the advices will you give for a person who is expecting to start his career path from the UI designing? Okay. So the idea of this session is to help the people who are going to start as UI UX engineers and others. So follow this process. Don't worry, follow this process. Take real world examples, few real world examples, maybe few existing examples, and few imaginary ideas, and follow these steps and do something. Let's say you can do the research, you can sketch, you can define the user flows, and you can maybe create prototypes. But let's say you are not very capable of doing visual designs, it doesn't matter. Just draw in a paper, uh, take a big paper, I mean, like a CR book, and draw UIs in a large paper with a pen and pencil. So when you practice this process 3-4 times, you will get familiar and you will find the gaps. So you know, then you know what do you really need. You will get an idea about what you are missing, and you know what to search on internet. So follow these steps and practice again and again. And apart from that, it will be handy if you can uh, be familiar with design guidelines. Uh, so there are a lot of design guidelines, so that is not practical to follow them all. So I would suggest to uh, follow a framework like maybe Bootstrap. So you have a basement, then you can go from there. So what else? And definitely you need to know the practical software process, because in some organizations UX designer is the one who handles the project, handles the product. There are product leads, product owners, and project managers, but ideally at, at one time, let's say at a specific point of the software lifecycle, UX designer can be the person who has the best idea of the application, because he was there from the beginning. So he did his research and he knows the processes. So likewise, the skills and requirements to be UX designer is depend on the organization. The organization will require something and you will have to find it. And I guess being a UX designer is one of the easiest position, because you can really use your soft skills and your effort. So that being said, anyone can follow, anyone can contribute as a UX designer until you get to the point you need to do the visual design. So don't worry about visual designing. Anyone can design, anyone can create UIs, anyone can learn a design tool. So that's not a big deal. So even if you need to choose your career path, uh, let's say to be a backend developer, you need to have a sort of logical power, logical thinking. Um, but I would say being a UX designer is general. Anyone can be, but it's handy to have design skills and artistic thinking. So that's what I can tell for now. So I guess that's all with the questions. Thank you for participation. And if you need to know anything, you can contact me. I haven't posted my contact details here, but I would suggest if you need to really proceed with this, or if you have the interest, please refer Anuradha. So he can direct you to me. So I'll help. If you need to start as a UI UX designer, I can help. So I'll guide, and all depends on your effort and skills. So we may see you again in another session. And